I stored carrots in damp sand last year and they all rotted within 6 weeks. Then I tried one weird trick from a 90-year-old farmer, and those carrots lasted until May with zero loss. Most advice about storing root vegetables is either too vague or just plain wrong. Everyone says keep them cool and humid, but nobody tells you the actual temperature ranges that matter, or why your beets turn rubbery after 2 months, or how to stop that white mold from destroying everything. I'm going to show you storage methods that actually work, including some unconventional techniques that most gardening channels won't mention because they sound too strange. But these methods have been tested in real conditions, not just theory. Here's something that changed everything for me. The sugar content in your roots at harvest determines storage success more than anything else you do afterward. Root vegetables need to experience temperatures between 35–45 degrees for at least 2 weeks while still in the ground before harvest. This triggers a process called cold sweetening, where starches convert to sugars. Those sugars act as natural antifreeze and prevent cell damage during storage. Carrots harvested before cold sweetening will store for maybe 8 weeks maximum. Carrots that went through proper cold sweetening? I've had them last 7 months with perfect texture. The technique, when nighttime temps start hitting 35–40 degrees Celsius consistently, leave your roots in the ground for another 14–21 days. Mark your calendar. I use a soil thermometer pushed 4 inches deep to monitor this. When you're consistently reading 40 degrees Celsius or below for 2 weeks, that's your harvest window. For potatoes, it's the opposite. You want warm soil at harvest, around 50–55 degrees Celsius. Colder soil at potato harvest causes sugar accumulation that makes them taste sweet and turn dark when cooked. That's why fall potatoes often taste better than late season ones. Everyone says store in sand, but screws up the moisture level. Here's the actual method. Use construction sand, not play sand. Play sand is too fine and holds too much moisture. Construction sand, the stuff for mixing concrete, has larger particles that maintain air pockets. The moisture test. Squeeze a handful of dampened sand. It should form a ball that breaks apart when you poke it. If water drips out, it's too wet. If it won't form a ball, it's too dry. Layer your roots so they're separated by at least 1 inch of sand on all sides. This matters because ethylene gas from one rotting vegetable can trigger decay in adjacent ones. Add 1 tablespoon of hydrated lime per 5 gallons of sand. This keeps the pH around 7.58, which inhibits mold growth significantly. I tested this side by side, and the lime-treated sand had 70% less mold over 5 months. Check moisture monthly by squeezing sand from the middle of your container. Redampen only if needed by misting with a spray bottle. Never pour water in. This is a traditional European method that works anywhere your ground doesn't freeze deeper than 12 inches. I've never seen it on YouTube, but it's incredibly effective. Dig a shallow trench 8 inches deep and as long as you need. Line it with wire mesh to keep rodents out. Pile your root vegetables in a pyramid shape on the mesh, covering them with 6 inches of straw, then 6 inches of soil. Leave a straw-filled chimney every 3 feet by inserting a 4-inch diameter PVC pipe vertically through the pile, then pulling it out and stuffing the hole with loose straw. This allows gases to escape while maintaining temperature. The brilliant part: the vegetables create their own microclimate through respiration. They generate slight warmth, around 40–45 degrees Fahrenheit, even when the outside air is freezing. The soil layer insulates but breathes just enough to prevent condensation. I've stored 200 pounds of mixed roots this way with a less than 3% loss. The only investment was $15 of wire mesh. To harvest midwinter, you dig from one end, take what you need, and recover immediately. The disturbance doesn't affect the rest. This is experimental, but it works. Ozone generators, the small ones for home use, around $50, can extend storage life by killing surface bacteria and mold spores. Every 2 to 3 weeks, I run an ozone generator for 30 minutes in my storage room with the door closed. Ozone breaks down to regular oxygen within hours, leaving no residue. My data over 2 seasons. Carrot storage went from an average 4.5 months to 6.5 months. Beet storage improved from 3 months to 5 months. The difference was visible, much less surface mold and firmer texture. Critical safety note: never run ozone with people or pets in the room. Ventilate for 2 hours after treatment before entering. Ozone irritates lungs at high concentrations. This sounds insane, but it's how commercial operations keep roots fresh for 8+ months. You can do it at home. Melt paraffin wax or beeswax to 150–160 degrees Celsius. Dip clean, dry roots for 2 seconds, then immediately into cold water to set the wax. The coating seals in moisture and blocks oxygen, dramatically slowing respiration and decay. I tested this on carrots. Regular storage in sand, 4 months average. Wax dipped, then stored in sand, 8 months with 0 shriveling. The texture was identical to fresh harvest. The wax peels off easily during prep. For cooking, you can leave it on. Food-grade wax is completely edible and burns off during roasting. Cost breakdown: 5 pounds of paraffin, 12 Lusner, coats roughly 50 pounds of vegetables. Commercial storage facilities use this, but home gardeners never do. Root vegetables store longest when temperature fluctuates slightly rather than staying constant. The ideal cycle: 35 degrees Celsius at night, 42 degrees during day. This mimics natural soil conditions and keeps vegetables in perfect dormancy without triggering sprouting or excessive respiration. In a basement, achieve this by opening a window at night and closing it during the day. In a buried container, the earth naturally creates this cycle. I monitored this with a data logger. Consistent 38 degree Fi storage gave me 4 months average on mixed roots. Temperature cycling, 35–42 degree Fi daily, gave me 6.5 months with noticeably better texture. Root vegetables produce ethylene gas as they respire. Ethylene triggers ripening, sprouting, and decay. Remove the ethylene and storage life extends dramatically. You can buy ethylene-absorbing packets, used for shipping fruit, or make your own with activated carbon and potassium permanganate. Commercial packets cost $15 for a pack that treats 50 cubic feet for 3 months. Place packets in your storage containers or hang them in your storage room. Replace every 8 to 10 weeks. My results: potatoes without absorbers sprouted at 3 months. With absorbers, 7 months before first sprouts appeared. Carrots gained an extra 6 to 8 weeks of storage time. If you're in an apartment, this works. Get a 5-gallon food-grade bucket with lid. Fill it halfway with dry white rice. Bury your root vegetables completely in the rice. Rice absorbs excess moisture while maintaining 70–75% humidity. Perfect for roots. It also absorbs ethylene gas. The vegetables stay separated and dark. This method works best for carrots, beets, and turnips. I've stored 15 pounds of carrots in 1 bucket for 5 months. Check monthly by digging through. The rice stays dry enough that nothing molds. Cost: $10 for rice that's reusable for multiple seasons. This is unconventional, but vacuum-sealed roots in cold storage, 35–40 degrees, last significantly longer than traditional methods. The lack of oxygen prevents decay organisms from growing. Use a home vacuum sealer. Seal roots individually when perfectly dry. Store sealed bags in a fridge or cold room. I tested this against sand storage. Vacuum-sealed carrots lasted 9 months in my spare fridge. Sand-stored carrots, 5 months. The texture difference was dramatic. Vacuum-sealed stayed crisp while sand-stored got slightly rubbery. The downside: you can't check vegetables mid-storage without breaking the seal. Only use this for prime-quality roots with 0 damage. Here's a technique I discovered by accident. Instead of preventing sprouting, you can control it to extend harvest. When potatoes or beets start sprouting after 3 to 4 months, don't throw them out. Plant them in containers of moist sand and keep them in dim light at 55–60 degrees Celsius. They'll produce fresh greens you can harvest while the root stays firm. Potato sprouts are toxic, but beet greens are delicious and nutritious. One stored beet can produce fresh greens for 6 to 8 weeks, while the root shrinks slowly. You're essentially extending your harvest by converting stored energy to fresh food. I kept 3 beets alive this way from December to March, harvesting greens weekly for salads while the roots stayed firm enough to eventually cook. After testing 30 plus varieties, these store longest with proper technique. Carrots, Bolero and Autumn King. I've had these last 9 months with wax dipping. Nantes types rot fastest, 3 to 4 months max. Beets. Lutz Green Leaf is the undisputed champion. I've stored these 10 months in sand with lime treatment. Detroit Dark Red, 6 to 7 months. Potatoes. Yukon Gold stores 8 to 9 months if properly cured. Russet Burbank goes 7 to 8 months. Red potatoes. 4 months maximum, don't bother with long storage. Turnips. Purple top. White Globe, 7 months in clamp storage. Most other varieties, 3 to 4 months. Parsnips. Gladiator variety goes 8 months easily. Standard varieties, 5 to 6 months. The variety choice alone can double your storage time. If you're planning for winter storage, choose varieties specifically bred for it. If you want to see my actual storage setup with temperature and humidity data over 8 months, that video is next, including the failures nobody talks about.